Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, so pleased to have in the studio with us today Mark Amado. He is the site director for the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well, thank you. How you doing?
Fine. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Can't wait to hear what the foundation does. And you're joined by some of our longtime friends and colleagues, frequent guests on our Spotlight on the Community show. That's Todd Ullah, Chief Strategy Officer for EDforTech, joined by his colleague, Danielle Bush, the project manager. How you doing, Todd and Danielle?
Doing fine.
Very good. How about you, Danielle? Doing great. Thanks, Drew. Good. Always good to have you folks on. You have wonderful content. All the cool things that you folks are doing. Can't wait to hear about the connection between EDforTech and the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Vogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., celebrating their 20th anniversary. How you doing there, Kristen?
Doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing lovely. Why don't you get us started?
Let's do it. Let's start with you, Mark. And can you talk to us a little bit about what the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation's mission is?
Well, the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation was established in 2005, I believe. Actually, it was 2004, but according to the internet, it says 2005. Been around with LT, from then till now. Actually, 2001. I met LT in 2001. And went from, I used to do his cars for him. That's how I started out.
Nice.
All the custom cars for him. And then I grew with him. And then, before you know it, I'm doing community stuff with him.
Great.
We started out with the reservations, Saquon, Barona, and Viejas. We started out doing toy drives at Walmart. Then we did the big turkey drives. Every year, 2,100 turkeys at the Walmart in Chula Vista.
Nice.
With police chiefs, the mayor, you name it, was there. Very, very well organized, great organization. And the best thing about that was I got to see the families happy just to get a turkey and all the fixings to go with it.
Oh, there's nothing more uplifting. Are you from San Diego originally?
I'm from Boston originally.
Okay. Did you? Yes.
Absolutely.
My
Red Sox fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, thank you. You can say Boston 400 more times during the interview, and then my business partner Charles Parisi, the all-time Yankee fan. Hopefully he'll make it through the podcast on it. Did you play sports?
I did. Just till high school, and actually when I was in the Navy, I played all Navy basketball.
Oh, you were in the Navy? Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
How long were you in the Navy?
I went in 78 and got out in 86.
Very nice. Thank you. Did you serve in San Diego at all?
Yes. I was actually stationed in Washington State, Whidbey Island.
Yeah.
They asked for a volunteer to come down to San Diego. I volunteered when I landed in Coronado at the Naval Air Station. I said, this is where I'm going to live. And I've been here ever since.
Well, we're glad you're here. So, Todd, why don't you kick us off, talk a little bit about what the mission of EDforTech is, how long you've been there, and
I've
all
been
the
there.
Great things you do.
Thanks, Drew. And again, great to be here.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Our mission is to help educators prepare the next generation of thinkers to solve problems that we have in the world today. We do kind of three things. We do STEM work in schools, after school, and during the school day. We do summer camps, which we're here to talk a little bit about today. That's a great experience.
Right.
And we do a lot of professional learning that helps build capacity. So our tag is kind of, build capacity, teach STEM better, and enhance learning.
Now, you got a long history in education, correct? Talk about that.
Yes. Longtime educator with Los Angeles Unified School District, was an assistant principal where you and I Well, you and I know of each other from Palisades Charter High School.
Yes, I wasn't called a charter when they barely had running water when I was going to school there. But yeah,
So go Dolphins.
Yeah, go
and
Dolphins.
then I was director of science for LEOSD. And throughout my time in education, and even now, I wanted to create opportunities for youth to see themselves kind of outside of our community. And that's where Mark and LT and we really see that as an important.
There's no question about it. And Danielle, you've been involved with EDforTech for how long now?
I've been at EDforTech almost going on 4 years now.
4 years, okay. But you've been involved and interested in education for quite a while, have you not?
You know, I was in education. I actually knew Charles from being the program manager at the Tucson Academy for several years. And so that was an important part of our mission, is making sure that the homeless youth that were residing there were getting a good education and making opportunities.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I know you're, certainly knee deep in EDforTech and working with the Classroom of the Future Foundation. And of course, our good friend, if we didn't mention Al Love's name, I would hear from it. So Al Love, the Senior Director of College and Career for the San Diego County Office of Education. And you folks have really forged a really strong relationship with Al Love on that. So, I'll start with you on this, Todd, and jump in, Kristen, when you need to on this. How did the relationship start with you and Mark and the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation?
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to pass that over to my colleague because
please do.
She's the one that brought all of this to the table. We created the opportunity with Al Love, as you said. We started with him doing grab and go packages with STEM camps around San Diego County. And then we moved on to applying for with CFF for level up grants for the San Diego Foundation and the extended learning grants with the San Diego Foundation.
Right.
So we got camps going on around the county. So this last year, we were thinking about, let's do something different. Let's see if we can do something different with the kids in San Diego Unified. And so Danielle came up with the idea of the LT group, the Tomlinson group. So I'm going to pass it over to her and let her talk about how that came to be.
Yeah, how did that come to be, Danielle?
Sure. I definitely can't take all the credit for that. It was a joint idea between Mark and myself. I've known Mark for a long time. And he always tells me that LaDanian and Sorsha, that they're very interested in the whole child approach and making sure kids not only get the physical activity and they're interested in sports, but they're learning leadership, they're learning character development. And obviously the academics is an important part of that. So it really was a natural fit, because we're doing the STEM education, we're in the classroom, but with these camps over the summer, we want to get the kids out and moving too. Yes. So it just naturally came together and it was a great fit.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. So how did you come to know Danielle, Mark? How long have you known each other?
Well, me and Danielle have known each other for a while. I actually didn't know what she did for work. And she knew somewhat. Good. She knew I was with LT, but didn't know exactly
what you did, right?
What I did, what the mission was and stuff. And then one day we just started talking, and we've been plotting this for years, actually.
That's fantastic.
Trying to get together and do, once I found out what she did and she found out what our mission was, hey, let's do this, put this together.
Yeah, isn't it amazing when actually people talk and they go, man, how have I not sat there and connected on this aspect of it? We're chatting with Mark Amado. He is the site director for the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation, joined by his colleague, Todd Ullah, Chief Strategy Officer for EDforTech, and Danielle Bush, the project manager, also for the organization. I'm Drew Schlosberg. The Cloudcast Media, you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year, brought to you by the great folks at Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for people who live in San Diego County. Whether it's food insecurity, whether it's literacy, whether it's art, they are always in there shoulder to shoulder with folks in San Diego for these key causes. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Vogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. You are up, Kristen.
Thanks so much. That was such a gentle approach to telling me so. Yes. Let's dig into the camps a little bit. So how did it go? I assume it sounds like this was the first time that this was implemented. Yes. And then let's just start there. How was it? How many kids? Give us the specifics.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, we did 2 schools.
Okay.
Edison Elementary and Normal Heights Elementary. And thank you to the principals for allowing us to come into their schools and doing what we do as far as athletics and STEAM with EDforTech.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that together. Of course, I had to get the coaches and the teachers, and Danielle helped with all that. Was a blessing for me. Made it real easy because this was my first time here in San Diego that we're doing this, trying to get our feet wet, because LT and I always talked about coming back to San Diego.
Right.
I'm trying to get him back in San Diego.
Yeah.
This was a good push for us to do that. And thanks for EDforTech and Danielle. We got it going. The schools was great. The kids were great. One of the things was good for me was when one of the kids came up to me and said, "Hey, am I going to see you next year?" I told him, "Absolutely." So I got to do this again.
Right. Is there an age group that you folks work with?
It's all middle school, wasn't it?
Is that right?
It was grades 4 through 6. Yeah.
Oh, 4 through 6. Okay, so what is that, about 9, to 11, 12, give or take, in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And what physical things do they do in the camp? Are they playing football?
We do we call it skills and drills, getting their feet and hands right.
Nice.
Get all that right, and then at the end we did do some football.
Nice.
But before we even did that, we did a leadership program in the class.
That's great.
That led to what they did outside on the field. So we did the classroom first with the leadership, and the leadership and character program is tremendous to me. And I think all kids,
100%.
Middle school and up, need that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you said it. We've brought this up on our show many times, Kristen, as you remember. And when we have people on that talk about, what type of leadership is going on, if I'm not mistaken, and Todd, you may know this, I think certainly my business partner, Charles Parisi, might remember this. I think Fallbrook Union Elementary School District actually got funded to do a Covey leadership program for their entire elementary school district. And so it was teaching leadership, which I think you're so spot on, Mark. You start young, like everything should start young, TK and all that business in that area. So by the time they progressed up to, high school and then community college or 4-year school, they've got it. Danielle, I'll start with you on this. How important, I know you folks do this quite a bit anyway with your robotics and all that, but you do infuse some leadership in there, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. Taking leadership and ownership, persistence and grit comes with any computer science camp. I think if you don't get your code right, you have to try again and solve the answer. The teamwork and the collaboration, we're working in small groups. We're down on the table doing hands-on robotics. So it was a natural fit. And I think it builds camaraderie around all three of the components between the kids and the cohorts in the group.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Todd, you've been doing this for quite a while, and talk about how you got interested in robotics.
Yeah, I mean, the tip of the spear to me really is about building capacity for teachers and the service end of it, using and helping teachers be more confident, lower the barrier of entry for teaching STEM across subject areas. That's really what drives us. Robotics is the great tool that we use to build that confidence, engage students. And I think for me, it's been really about there's 3 types of learners: auditory,
that's right,
kinesthetic, and visual.
That's right. I know.
And so that kinesthetic piece, that hands-on piece, is so important, I think, for a lot of learners there. And to bring that into classrooms and to see the engagement and the excitement that brings has always, turned on the lights.
Yeah, it really has. And what it does is, and maybe, Mark, you can address this when we come back from break, when you see the confidence in those kids, okay, that may have lacked confidence in whatever maybe it's in athletics, maybe it's in academics, maybe it's a little bit of both. But no, I can do this, whether it's the skills and drills or whether it's robotics or whether it's the STEM, and all that is so critical. So let's chat about that when we come back from break as well. And Mark, we always save some time in the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to continue to support the great work of the foundation? So give some ideas to that as well, Todd. And you and Danielle know the routine, so don't be shy in asking for that when we return with Mark Amado. He is the site director for the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation, joined by his colleagues Todd Ullah, Chief Strategy Officer for EDforTech, and Danielle Bush, the project manager for the organization. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. It's brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 60 years. It's doing great things for people living in San Diego County. Just so thrilled to have in the studio with us today Mark Amado. He is the site director for the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation, joined by his colleagues Todd Ullah and Danielle Bush of the EDforTech organization. And I'm thrilled to have my co-host over. Well, we celebrated. You're about 12 months now. Well, 14 months.
Something
into
like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Co-host of the Spotlight
Never
Show.
got that year party, but you know.
All right, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait till year 2, I guess.
Oh, okay, great.
We'll squeeze it in. Kristen
All right.
Fogel's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. Kristen.
Yeah, I want to bat it back to Mark for a second. We've talked about the turkey drive and the toy drive, and they're both coming up. Yes. So,
Yes.
Can you talk about what's kind of on the horizon? Is it different at all this year?
Well,
Talk to us about
no, it's not really different. It's actually a little bit different because they've expanded.
Oh, nice.
Now
Great.
they're established now in Texas.
Okay.
Right. Still with the future for San Diego.
Mhm.
So we are planning on doing a turkey drive
Okay.
and toy drives here in San Diego. Now that we've established, we did a couple programs here this past summer
Nice.
just to get the feet wet. And now they're going to be coming back. I'm actually going to have LT here so that he can come and, once they see him, it's a new ball game. Like I've always told LT, you're bigger than the mayor here in San Diego.
Mhm.
And he loves that. And he's been telling me, man, I want to get back in San Diego. So we're definitely going to do that. We got some other stuff. I do in representative of LT, we do juvenile hall.
Mm.
Talking to the kids.
You work at the JCCS schools?
Yep. The one in Kearney, they're actually
Yes.
building a new facility in Kearney.
Right.
But I've been to both facilities. I've been to the one in Kearney and I've been to the actual main jail in
Right.
Otay.
Mhm.
And that was an eye-opener for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. My business colleague, Charles Parisi, and one of his colleagues have developed curriculum that focuses on the JCCS schools and San Pasquale Academy that are dealing with, some kids who have had some experiences, to say the least, and teaching them leadership skills and all that in that area. And so critical, one of our colleagues, he was the superintendent of the Bonsall Unified School District, is now hired as an assistant superintendent at the County Office of Education. Joseph Clevenger is now in charge of the JCCS. So we'll have to make an introduction with you and him. He'll love to chat with you, Mark, on that aspect of it. He's very forward-thinking and innovative in that area.
Yeah, and I would like to give a shout out to Dick Lewis. I don't know if you know who Dick Lewis is.
He used to be the security guy for the Chargers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well established in the community.
100%.
Well established in the community, and he passed recently.
He did. Right.
But he's the one. They called me one day. This is how this happened. He called me one day and he says, hey, I would like for you to come down to juvenile hall and just watch us. When I went down in there, got in there, they introduced me at the end, and I totally unexpected. So I got up and I ended up talking for about 30 minutes. And the director there said, "Hey, could you come back?" And sure. And it's been like every Friday I go back with Dick Lewis when he was here, and Rito, which Rito still does stuff right now today. And believe it or not, let me give a shout out to Dean Spanos, because Dean Spanos today still supports the community in San Diego.
Nice.
He supported Dean, Dick Lewis,
Yeah.
and Rito, and he still does, even though Dick has passed.
Right.
Rito kind of took over. So he still supports it. And a lot of people don't know that about Dean Spanos.
Yeah. Well, I used to work with the Chargers quite a bit when Bill Johnston was there. Bill now works for the Padres, and Bill was the head of PR, as you know.
Good guy.
Mark, great guy.
Good guy.
And Kimberly Layton, who was in charge of, so we worked pretty closely with him. And Dean, he would give money, and he didn't make a big deal. He didn't do it for skywriting. He didn't shoot off flares and all that. And the next thing you know, how did that happen? Well, he quietly gave $1 million for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. You're right. Sometimes they get the short end of the stick on that. Todd, talk about, the relationship with the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation. It's new. It's just going to grow, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we're going to be working with Feaster Charter Schools and Chula Vista next year as a result of our expanded learning grant that we did with CFF.
Right.
And the STEAM work we did in full-day programs there. We've recently met with the leadership of the charter school group at Feaster, and they want to offer a sports STEAM academy next year as part of their summer programs. It'll be a 4-week full-day program with I think it's 60 kids. Is it? Yeah, 60 students.
Right.
And they have a beautiful facility, sports facility out there. And we'll continue to do our STEAM activities, industry days, and field trips for the kids. And coupled with the Tomlinson Foundation, it really brings to life kind of all aspects of their being, really, of their being students, of being people in the community, and collaborating with one another. So we're looking forward to continue that relationship with the Tomlinson.
Right. So Danielle, if people want to get a hold of you or Todd, certainly, and say, listen, I love what I'm hearing here. I want to, expand what we're doing either at the school level or at the maybe YMCA level, or do you work with organizations like YMCA and Boys and Girls Club as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We've worked with both of those organizations in the past. We help support informal STEM, after-school enrichment, in classroom, professional development, as Todd mentioned. We have a website. It's www.edfortech.com. That's EDforTech.com. And National STEM Day is coming up in November, and Computer Science Week is coming up in December. And we are doing a big push right now to try to get robots in the hands of kids in San Diego County and across the country. And we're looking for sponsorships from businesses that want to adopt a classroom. Anybody that wants to help support get this education going for kids around the county will definitely help get those robots in the hands of kids. And a big thank you to the Classroom of the Future Foundation. Without that partnership, that's how we did the expanded learning grant. And then, of course, the funding from the San Diego Foundation has made all of this possible with the Level Up grant that we did with the Tomlinson Foundation, as well as the expanded learning grant. So they've been a huge support to get robots in the hands of kids. And a lot of these camps, the kids got to take the robots home. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, and that's something that I know that Danielle is in, your DNA and Todd's as well, and I'm sure it's in Mark's as well. And maybe you can address this, Danielle. Is that, it's interesting. Again, my business colleague Charles Parisi loves science. He's also a literacy guy as well. But when you break it down and show the students that, science is everywhere, you don't realize it's everywhere, but it is everywhere. Talk about how important that is to get that across to the kids.
It's so important. We actually just had a really engaging conversation with a resource teacher here in San Diego earlier this week after the San Diego County Office of Education Career Pathway Fair.
Right.
We met with her and gave her a robot, and she was just telling us, a lot of the kids come to her classroom in the middle school level, but reaching the kids at that elementary level is so important before they think, science is boring, I don't like that. If you get them and you get them engaged and do hands-on education with them, they see that differently for themselves. And that, that creates more opportunity for what they see that they can do in their future. And Todd and I are really passionate about that.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Hands-on is so critical on these things. We're chatting with Todd Ullah. He is the Chief Strategy Officer for EDforTech, joined by his colleague Danielle Bush, the Project Manager, and their colleague Mark Amado. He's the Site Director for the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, on our 18th year. Brought to you by the great folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing very, very cool things in San Diego County. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen?
Yeah. Todd, I wonder if you could speak to some of these professional development programs that you've got going on. I'm kind of curious about them.
Yeah, it's each of the programs we run are geared towards building capacity in engineering design, science, coding, and the like. And so we offer a short, like a 4-hour PD. It's an introductory professional learning for teachers. It lowers the barrier of entry to teach STEM in the classroom. So they get the school purchases the say class set of robots. We provide the training and the entry to get into the classroom so that the teachers can be successful. We also do more extended learning institutes for teachers, up to 18 hours, where we engage with deep learning. It's research-based. The teachers come in, or the administrators come in, and we offer engineering design and leadership. Again, like Mark was saying,
Right.
That leadership's huge. So we do that for 18 hours. And then there's a big need across the country in doing science. So we offer an 18-hour institute on NGSS, which is the 3D science programs that are now in like 37 states around the country, or 38. And so we go and help teachers unpack what that looks like in the classroom. And so we also tie leadership to our science professional development. So those are the two types of learnings that we do. Introductory for the type of, robotics that we enter into the classroom, and then a more extended pedagogical-based PD for teachers.
And who is this available for? Are we looking at kind of the middle school teacher group?
We work K-12.
K-12 and all San Diego County eligible?
Yes. San Diego County. We do it all across the country.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you guys are in Detroit as well, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct, yeah.
In Michigan. So, Mark, let me ask you this. What can our listeners do to support the foundation? Whatever you'd like, ask us for it. What can we do?
Money. No,
No, but lots of people ask for that.
No, 100%.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I mean,
it turns the lights on and lets programs happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely money.
that's the bottom line. I mean, without beating around the bush,
Mhm.
but I mean, there are a lot of things that I think in the community. And the thing about it, when I mention LaDanian Tomlinson's name, everybody's eyes lights up.
Of course.
I mean, it's just like I go back to what I told him. I said, "Hey, you're bigger than the mayor here in town."
Yeah, right.
So, and he loves that. So to get everybody, us being out and the teachers, the principals allowing us to use their schools and stuff, and then our organization, foundation, will speak for itself for what we do. And then they'll support us. Like now I got several principals calling me now. They want flag football in their school.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Right now, you've let the barn door open.
Yeah.
They're going to be flying at you over there. That'll be a good headache to have. Right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I take it on.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you need volunteers at all?
Always looking for volunteers.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what's the website? How do they get a hold of you?
We got several.
Okay.
Tomlinson Touching Lives. We got Tomlinson Academy.
Okay. So yeah, they can just Google pretty much the Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation, and they can navigate and find their way to you.
Absolutely.
Check them out on Facebook too.
Yeah, exactly. So Todd, I'll start with you on this, and then go over to Danielle. What can we do to support EDforTech?
Well, as I said, we're really on this push for National STEM Day on November 8th.
Yep.
And any support that can come our way in terms of sponsorship and helping kids get their hands on some robots and some teachers doing some STEM in classrooms is great. And the push towards an hour of code in December that leads up to the Computer Science Education Week. Anything that can be anyone that wants to help us, sponsorship or lend a hand, go to edfortech.com. Check us out. And that's what we're doing right now. That's how best you can help us immediately.
Absolutely. Danielle, any final comments?
No, I think Todd covered it. Like I said, we want kids to have robots for National STEM Day and Computer Science Week at the beginning of December.
That sounds great. Well, it's always good to see you, Danielle and Todd, coming in. You always bring some great guests. Mark is certainly adds to that over here. And let's be thinking about other schools that you can bring in. You brought in some of those great folks as well. And Mark, be thinking about this. If you want to bring somebody in, next time you're on that has benefited from what happened at those schools, Edison or whatever the case may be. We always love to hear from the teachers. We always love to hear from the principals, and we really like to hear from the students. So keep that in mind as well.
I will, absolutely.
Very good. Mark Amado, Site Director for Tomlinson Touching Lives Foundation, joined by Todd Ullah, Chief Strategy Officer for EDforTech, joined by his Project Manager, Danielle Bush. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Thank you, Kristen Fogel, my wonderful co-host, for now more than a year on our Spotlight show. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.